What is up, guys? This is Rise and welcome to another video. Bit of a different one today where I am going to be taking you through my top 10 figures best teams in the Open Great League for this new Go Battle League Season 10, the 10th season of GBL. Great League, I think, is the best league to harness your skills. There's a lot of variety. There's also a lot of meta pick that you're going to see over and over again. And one of the most common questions I get asked is when I'm streaming, like, Rise, what's a good team that's going to help me get to Legend? And I've got 10 options in this video to show you that we are going to rank 10 to 1. Obviously, it's very subjective when I rank these teams. I'd say about half of them are teams I personally run and have a lot of success with, and half of them are common teams that I've seen other content creators run, or popular teams that I know are very strong and can help you achieve a high rank. So without further ado, let's get into the teams. And while I have the graphics appear on the screen, I'm also going to use pvpoke.com as a resource, and we're going to use it to go over these teams and see the biggest weaknesses, and I'll give you a little bit of a breakdown of what you need to look out for. So team number 10 is one that a local of mine recommended to me, and it is Dewgong, Cresselia, and Scrafty. So in this team, you're typically going to want to lead Cresselia to try and catch a fighter in the lead. That's the ideal scenario. And then in the back, you've got Dewgong as your safe swap and Scrafty as a closer if you can save shields for it. So both Scrafty and Dewgong and Cress, they all have some good bulk. So this team has an A in the bulk rating, B in coverage. Some of the biggest weaknesses, without even looking at what PvPoke says, are going to be things like Obstagoon. An opposing Scrafty would be tough because you kind of need to take it out in the lead. Otherwise, it could ramp up. If it baits you, that could be pretty bad. But basically, the strategy behind the team is Cresselia has a lot of really good matchups in the meta. It's good against the Zoomeril. It's good against most fighters. And even dragons. It has that Moonblast coverage. And then Dewgong acts as a safe swap. And Dewgong is a great safe swap because if you swap your Dewgong and get a head start on energy, it has Icy Wind, which is a debuff move, which can make it really uncomfortable for the opponent to try and take... accidentally went into a matchup there, which can make it really tough for the opponent to take back switch. So we look at the meta scorecard and how it fares up against a lot of the most common Pokemon. Looks like Registeel, a bit of an issue, that's for sure. Registeel as the lead Pokemon would certainly be tough to deal with. So I think you would, that's probably the worst case scenario. I actually, because of that, you can also lead, if you are seeing Registeel, which isn't that common anymore, you can also lead Scrafty, lure out the Registeel with Cresselia, for example, and then farm it down and then have Dewgong as a sweeper in back. So you can also run sort of an A-B-A line because I think Registeel is really the only lead. If you were to lead Cresselia with this team, that would be pretty hard to navigate. Sableye, it says it beats all three, but honestly, like, Scrafty can handle Sableye and Dewgong can handle Sableye. This is, I don't think Sableye is too much of a problem. It's really just Cress that's going to really struggle there. Venusaur and Galvantula, those would be little bits of issues, especially if they get ahead on energy. They could be tough to deal with. But if you run into a Venusaur in the lead, I think you just swap Dewgong and they might stay in and you're going to do a lot of damage. And then Galvantula, another big threat. So I think, look at that Delcatty at number 6. That's pretty crazy. But this is a team I've personally had a lot of success with, and I do recommend it. So now we're going to go into team number 9. And this is a team that I first saw being used by Agent Avocado, a fellow streamer. And it's Deoxys Defense, Umbreon, and Alolan Ninetales. And if you run this team, I think you're going to want Ninetales with Charm, just because one thing that often happens with this team is you lose lead. Let's say you lead DD into Sableye. You swap your Umbreon. They come in with a fighter. You can end up charming down that fighter. And Umbreon's so thick that sometimes it can even get a shield on the safe swap. And you have some versatility with DD. The coverage, only a C, which is kind of surprising to me. But the bulk in A, the consistency in A, you've got 3 really strong picks. With a C coverage, let's see what we're weak to. It says we're weak to Azumarill, but honestly, Thunderbolt, Deoxys Defense can beat Azumarill, and Charm, Ninetales can as well if you're willing to expend 2 shields. Area Dose, yeah, I could see that being a problem, but that's why we have Psycho Boost to at least grab shields. But yeah, Area Dose would definitely be a core breaker. Escavalier, I don't see being that much of a problem. Umbreon can honestly beat Escavalier because the counters are non-stab. Skuntank, yeah, a little bit of a core breaker, but the counters from DD hit for neutral. Umbreon can last resort it. I don't think that's too much of a problem. Drapion would be a little bit annoying to deal with as a safe swap since you don't have an obvious answer for it. So you'd probably have to chip with DD and then maybe either Charm down or come in with Umbreon. And yeah, Alolan Grimer. I think Alolan Grimer might actually be the biggest threat, to be honest. Out of these biggest threats, I think Alolan Grimer probably would be the toughest one, but you don't see too many Alolan Grimers. So strong team there. And let's go on to number 8. And number 8 is a team that I'm sure most of you have run into at some point in the Go Battle League. And it is Skarmory, Sableye, and Swampert. And this team makes a lot of sense. You can run Sludge Wave or Earthquake on your Swampert. I think either has play. Sludge Wave better for the Azumarills that you're going to run into. Earthquake better for that just like hard-hitting move to potentially one-shot something in the end game. But I mean, Hydro Cannon is so good that oftentimes you don't really need Earthquake. You could just double Hydro Cannon something to KO it. But we look at the ratings, CCBB. So once again, I feel like sometimes these ratings can be a little bit misleading because let's see our biggest threats. Mandibuzz. Yeah, Mandibuzz would be tough if it's running Snarl. If it's running Air Slash, Skarmory can beat it. And Swampert can probably hang with it a little bit better because you're going to outpace it significantly. And Sableye, such a beast that, like, honestly, I've safe swapped people have safe swapped Sableye, and I've countered it with my Mandibuzz, and Sableye can force a shield in that matchup sometimes. That's how busted Sableye is as a safe swap. Umbreon, kind of the same thing. You don't see Cast Form too much, but that's kind of funny. Rainy and Snowy Cast Form, those would be a little bit tough. You do have only neutral answers for them. Zapdos, you don't see Zapdos too much, but honestly, Swampert can handle Zapdos pretty fine, and Sableye as well. Linoon, Alolan Sandshrew. So a lot of the biggest threats are things that you're not going to see too often, with the exception of Mandibuzz and Umbreon. And basically the thought process behind this team is if you have a bad lead with Skarmory, you can swap Sableye, try and take switch back, and Swampert and Skarmory just cover the meta so well. There's not a whole lot of things that beat both of them. You see on this list, there's really only a few, like Mandibuzz, for example, with Snarl. But even that, Skarmory and Swampert both have neutral play. So Skarmory's biggest weaknesses are electric types, which Swampert beats handedly, and Swampert's biggest weaknesses are grass types, which Skarmory just completely hard walls. So that's why that team is extremely effective. And we are going on to team number 7. It's going to be Ferrothorn. I personally like Mirror Shot to get those baits and also debuffs and Alolan Ninetales. It helps that matchup a lot. Drifblim. This is a team that I personally was running for a while this past season and found some success with. Got me to like the 3400s. And Azumarill. And we'll go with Play Rough Hydro Pump. But again, you can... Oh my god, D rating. You can play with that a little bit. So one really hard thing to deal with this team is Galvantula. If you see a Galvantula in the lead, it's going to be tough. Electric in general is tough. So the D coverage, once again, this team, like, there's going to be, let's see, a lot of things that it says beats all three. And with Trevenant, you know what? With Trevenant roaming around, I think I'm going to out myself with this team that this is a new Pokemon. Because of Trevenant, this team is actually not going to be that great. Ferrothorn can like deal with it a little bit. But the thing is though, if you catch it in the lead, you can kind of neutralize it there, especially if you're running Flash Cannon. And if you swap Drifblim and they swap in Trevenant to counter Drifblim, you can win that matchup ahead on energy by just going straight Icy Wind. So Trevenant I think is tough, but not the end of the world. Let's see, Noctowl, Pidgeot, yeah, those could be a little bit tough. I could see that, but I mean, I really like swapping the Drifblim and then just getting ahead on energy. And the Drifblim safe swap has been extremely effective for me in Go Battle League. So that team, a glaring weakness I would say is Trevenant, but I had a lot of success with it. Granted, that was probably before Trevenant came out. So number 7, take that team with a grain of salt. Now, we're going to OP team number 6. And it's going to be a team that I hate playing against. I know hate's a strong word. I'm sorry for that. I strongly dislike playing against this team because it's so strong. And it's Medicham, Sableye, Bastiodon. I give Bastiodon users a hard time because it's such an inflexible Pokemon. If you know my favorite teams, I like flexible Pokemon that are very versatile, can flip some matchups ahead energy. Bastiodon, almost every matchup, you're either going to win hard or you're going to lose hard. There's exceptions, but it's such a tanky beast that it's going to win pretty much every neutral matchup in like the 2 shield scenario, or actually no, probably more like the 0 shield scenario, because it can just tank moves like that, and its Stone Edge and Smackdowns are still going to add up. Kind of similar to like Chansey in that regard, but it has an A rating, and this is the first team that it says has at least 1 counter for everything. So it says that Azumarill loses to Medicham. I think that's if you if the Azumarill doesn't have Play Rough, it loses. So Medicham can actually win that matchup. And Bastiodon, if Azumarill doesn't have Hydro Pump, Bastiodon's going to beat Azumarill. Jellicent, not that bad, right? Like it hard counters Medi, but Sableye and Bastiodon can both do really well. Diggersby would beat the back 2 pretty easily, but hopefully you can line up Medicham with it. And yeah, just such a strong team. Sableye's gonna lure stuff out. You can also lead Bastiodon, swap Sableye. I think Medicham or Bastiodon are interchangeable as the lead. I encourage you not to run that team because it's so dang strong. It should be higher on the list, honestly, because it's so dang strong. But I feel like it's pretty easy to run. Like, and you might not improve as much of a battler if you're going to run that team, just because it's oftentimes there's going to be nothing your opponent can do with those 3 Pokemon. But I mean, if your goal is to hit legend rank or anything like that, you don't really care. Like, who cares, honestly, like what team you run? Very overpowered team right there that should generate a lot of wins for you. Probably better to lead Bastion, actually, in case there's a Charm lead. But if there is a Charm lead, most Charmers that are used, like Ninetales and Wiggly, are only single resisting the counters. Or no, I take that back. Neutral damage for the counters, what I meant to say. So Medicham can actually put up a fight. You get rid of it, and then Sableye roams free and back. So yeah, really strong team there. And we're going to team number 5, which is the Asian Milkman team. That's a fellow streamer, Asian Milkman. I'm sure some of you watch his stream, and I like to run this team from time to time myself. Mew, Scrafty, and Skarmory. And basically, the thought process behind this team is Mew is a very good generalist as a lead, and it's going to be able to win you the lead against most things. It can beat Azu, it can beat Stunfisk, it can beat Deoxys, Hypno. It's going to really struggle against the dark types. So if you run into a dark type as the lead, you swap Skarmory. And think about this, what are dark types generally weak to? They're weak to fighting. So if you swap Skarmory, it's going to be unlikely that they have a hard answer to Skarmory as well, because most of Skarmory's hard counters are steel types, and Skarmory can oftentimes take switch advantage back for you, especially if they're kind of late to make a decision. And then if you can line that Scrafty up with the dark type, which is really Mew's only major weakness, or Lickitung, I guess, then you're in a good spot. Let's see what this team is rated. B's across the board, but honestly, this is like one of the strongest teams in my opinion. Looks like Dead End, a bit of a core breaker with that Fairy Electric typing for the back 2 Pokemon. And Mew only will be able to hit it for neutral surfs if you run that. Galvantula as well. Once again, we've seen Galvantula a core breaker for a few of these teams. Would be a little bit tough to deal with, but strategy behind this team, you want to fight for lead, for switch advantage, and then just line up your back 2 with whatever. Should be in a good spot. Azumarill in the back can be a little bit difficult as well, because Azumarill can beat Skarmory, and obviously like hard walls, Scrafty. That is team number 5. We are going to team number 4. And this is going to be Shadow Nidoqueen with Sableye once again. And Umbreon. The classic Nido double dark line. Basically, pretty simple thought process behind this team. Nidoqueen is going to hard counter any sort of fairy or charmer. You can lure out that fairy or charmer with Sableye, who's a very safe swap, can probably get our shield with the return. You farm it down with Nido, and then Umbreon roams free and back. So just a really strong, overpowered team. Shadow Nidoqueen is one of the most annoying Pokemon to deal with because of its spam, its debuff, and how hard it hits with Poison Jab, Poison Fang. And we look at potential threats. Diggersby, yeah, Diggersby makes sense. That'd be a tough Pokemon to deal with. I guess you'd have to swap in Sableye and just play it out, try and chip it down. A9 with Powder Snow, honestly, that's not a threat. I disagree. I disagree. Well, if you catch it in the lead, because you can just Poison Jab right through it. Or you can lure it out with Sableye and then Poison Jab it down afterwards. So I don't think A9, honestly, is that big of a deal for this team. Snowy Cast would be tough, but once again, you don't see that too often. Steelix, yeah, tough for Nido and neutral against the back Pokemon, but Sableye, Umbreon can handle it. Blastoise, neutral for the back 2, once again, kind of same thing. Fortress, if you run into a Bug Bite Fortress, there you go. You've got a big-time core breaker, but you're not going to see too many forts in the Go Battle League. And that takes us to team number 3, which is a team I kind of just I was just trying to think of like strong teams making this list. I haven't run this team personally, but I might give it a shot. And Pelipper with G-Fisk and Trevenant. And we look at the rating. Let's see. A, C, A, B. And this team looks quite strong. In opposing Trevenant is actually the biggest threat, according to PvPoke. And honestly, Pelipper can hang with Trevenant if you're willing to expend some shields with that super effective wing attack. And then you've got your own Trevenant in back, which can kind of cancel it out. Umbreon in the back would be especially tough, but G-Fisk can handle Umbreon. Pelipper just kind of gets out-bulked by Umbreon, so it's not a great matchup for Pelipper because, like, basically 2 foul plays plus all the snarls KO, and Pelipper needs, like, so many Weather Balls or, like, 2 Hurricanes to KO. So Pelipper just gets out-bulked, and obviously Trevenant gets kind of hard-walled. Sableye, a little bit tough, but you got some neutral play. But I do like the versatility of this team. Also, a fire lead would be really tough. So I think you kind of have to sack the Stunfisk in case you run into a fire lead. Just try and get shield advantage, and then farm down with Pelipper, save shields for Trevenant and back. And I think you're in good shape. We go into team number 2, which is a classic team. I believe Though Tactical popularized this team. I could be wrong. But it's Shadow, Aboma, Snow, Sableye, and Azumarill. Sableye has been the most common Pokemon we have seen in the video today. Just such a monster as a safe swap. If they don't have a Charmer or a Dark type on their team, there's not a whole lot that hard counters Sableye, and oftentimes can get you switch advantage back or get shield advantage for you. This team, really strong. Straight Bs across the board. Let's see what the biggest threats are. Skarmory, but like all 3 of these Pokemon can hang with Skarmory. Lickitung, I can see that being a bit of a problem. But honestly, if you catch it in the lead, like, you just take shield advantage if you can. Or farm it down with Azu afterwards, and you're probably in good shape. Lickitung might be their best Azu counter. I think all 3 of these Pokemon can at least chip at Lickitung. Typhlosion, according to the Sims, beats all three. But honestly, like, Azumarill can do fine, and Sableye can do fine. They're gonna be able to hang with Typhlosion, which you don't see too many of. Bastiodon can be very tough, but I think that's why you need to run Hydro Pump with Azu with this team to give you a solid answer to Bastiodon. Magnezone, I personally run some Magnezone, so that would be tough, but Magnezone is so squishy that, like, if they're going to just Mirror Shot your Aboma Snow can probably hang in that matchup and might even win the Zero Shield. I'm not sure. Probably wouldn't win the Zero Shield, but you could just, like, chip it, maybe switch Sableye, and they're already, like, below half health. Galvantula, another Core Breaker. We're seeing a common theme that Galvantula Core Breaker for a lot of teams. The only problem is it gets just completely hard-walled by Stunfisk, so that's why not everyone is running Galvantula. And with that said, it is time for my number 1 team in the Great League for Go Battle League Season 10. Drum roll, please. Before we reveal the final team, I also, if you've made it this far in the video, have an announcement. So I'm going to kick it over to Future Rise. Hello, Future Rise here, and this video is sponsored by me, in a way. We don't have sponsors on the channel very often, but I have been thinking recently about my future with the channel and my growth with the channel. And if you guys don't know, like, I have an actual job outside of content, outside of YouTube and Twitch. I don't make enough via YouTube and Twitch where this would be like a full-time thing for me, but I do have aspirations and a goal, and I would love if one day I could grow this thing to be my full-time job. And one way I feel like I can do that is potentially through memberships. And I get a lot of people that DM me on Twitter and Instagram and Twitch asking about coaching sessions. And these are some new tiers and memberships that you guys can have access to, all via YouTube, which is my largest platform that I have in terms of a following, and where most of the people that follow me watch me. So if you go to my channel, you'll now see the join option, and we have 4 options for you. The first one being Great Friend for $4.99 a month. You'll get access to these custom emotes and prioritize replies to comments. I like to reply to comments in general when I can, and some comments I'm going to be more likely to reply to than others if someone asks a good question or if someone says something nice. But prioritize to Great Friends. I'll try and reply to your comments. And as we go through these tiers, each tier is going to carry over all the benefits from the previous tier. So we go up to $9.99 for Ultra Friends per month, and that's going to be shout outs occasionally during videos, probably not every video, but shout outs to Ultra Friends at the end of some videos. Photo and status updates, meaning there's the community tab on YouTube, and you guys will get like private updates of where I am elo wise, what's going on in GBL for me, maybe just personal stuff. If I'm at a sports game, I can post a picture of that you'll get to see what I'm up to. And then priority responding on Discord. A lot of you guys will send me messages on Discord asking what team to run, what do you think about this, what about that. For Ultra Friends, I will take the time to respond to you guys on Discord. For Elite VIP, this is where we start to get to the more expensive tiers, and this is where I want to try and branch my coaching, so I don't expect very many of you to sign up for Elite VIP and Legend VIP, because normally I've done this through Patreon or just through just kind of separate through like Venmo for individual coaching sessions. But for Elite VIP, you get 1 hour of Go Battle League coaching per month, and you'll get exclusive member-only videos. So I might post a video here or there if it's like from a tournament or some like high-level play that I made, where it's going to be just exclusive member-only videos. And I'll also add you on my friends list if you want to be part of my friends list for Elite VIP. And then the most expensive one, Legend VIP, which I don't expect for many people. And of course, you could sign up for Legend VIP for 1 month and then be done with it. But this is how I usually do coaching at this rate. So this would equate to 4 hours of coaching per month. So you could usually do one one-on-one session, an hour long, per week, or you could do two-hour sessions every other week. And then also, I'll follow you, connect with you on social media, and do members only live streams. So if there's a day where I don't necessarily feel like streaming my battles on Twitch, I might hop in my private Discord. And if you're a Legend VIP, you can feel free to hang out with me in Discord while I stream my Go Battle League sets, and maybe learn a thing or two from there, and we can hang out. So those are the new memberships I have. If you have any questions, feel free to comment in this video, and I hope to see some of you joining. And also, I'm looking forward to the growth of this channel in the future, and I'd love to expand my content as well into things like vlogging style content when it gets warmer again here in Wisconsin, and maybe branch out into fun sort of challenges and collabs. And I've got high aspirations for this channel going forward in the future, because I've been really thinking about what I want for the future, pursue career in a more traditional sense, or try and pursue a YouTube career. I'm still only 23 years old. If you guys didn't know, a lot of people think I'm older than that. But if I could make YouTube a career, that's something I've always wanted to do. So we'll see if we can make that happen. Maybe I'm naive. Maybe it's never going to happen. But I believe anything you work hard enough for and have enough ingenuity and creativity, you can make happen with enough hard work. All right, let's get back to the #1 ranked team in Great League. President Chris, take it away. Thank you, Future Rise, for the announcement. Exciting stuff happening to the channel, and I hope to see some of you guys join with a membership. That'd be pretty lit. But all that said, we are ready for the moment of truth. The #1 team, according to Rise to Occasion, in his opinion, and this team is my own signature team that I have been running for so many seasons. And this is obviously debatable that this is the strongest team. You could argue a different team on this list, a team that you run, might be stronger than this team. But whenever I'm in a rut in the Go Battle League, and I feel like I just need to try and get back on pace, to get some wins back under my belt, I always just resort to this team. Mew, Vigoroth, Mandibuzz, Air Slash Mandibuzz, because if I run Snarl on Mandibuzz, then Scrafty is a little too much of a problem here. Also, Obstagoon is a little bit tough to deal with, so Air Slash for that reason. We look at the meta scorecard, we look at the potential threats. Altaria is a little bit tough to deal with, but honestly, if I catch it in the lead, I can get off 2 wild charges, force a shield, then I have shield advantage going into the back. Alolan Ninetales, I can also get shield advantage with Mew, and then Mandibuzz avoids it. Or I could lure it out with Vigoroth. Slurpuff, you don't see too many Slurpuff. A bunch of Charmers it has as big weaknesses, but Mew and Vig can handle Charmers. Nidoqueen, definitely a little bit annoying to deal with, but Surf from Mew will get shields once again. And Galvantula, of course, as a common theme as a core breaker today. But Galvantula, Mew's going to be able to outpace it to Surfs, so you can really chip it and get it to a point where you can just counter it down with Vigoroth and just limit the amount of damage it does. So this team just so versatile. Mew gets so many good leads, and it's very similar to the Asian Milkman, Mew, Skarmory, Scrafty line. The only difference is Vigoroth is a little bit safer to swap. And what's Vigoroth's hardest counter? Probably Medicham. And if they swap in Medicham, if they're a little bit slow, you can actually get to a 3rd Body Slam and force a shield. If they're quick, you're only going to get to 2 Body Slams, or if they throw their move, you'll only get to 2. But Mew can then farm down with Shadow Claw, and Mandibuzz are really just tanky, nice closer that's going to win a lot of neutral matchups and help you out against other dark types and fighters. So, probably the worst lead to see with this team is a Sableye, just because you kind of have to swap Vig, and Vig doesn't do that great against Sableye either. So I think Sableye lead is probably the toughest thing to overcome with this team. But that brings us to the end of the video. And I thank you guys so much for watching. Bit of a different one, bit of a longer video as well. So let me know if you enjoyed this. A video with no gameplay, which is something I've never really done. I can't remember the last time I did a video with no like actual battles or gameplay. So leave a like if you enjoyed the breakdown of these teams. And I could definitely do one in the future, maybe top 5 for different theme cups like Halloween Cup, Kanto Cup. And once again, this is a subjective ranking list. This isn't the end-all be-all. Like, this is the number 10, this is the number 9. This is just 10 teams that I think are really strong. And let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to see some of your teams that didn't make this list that you feel are really strong. And I also know that a lot of these teams are pretty meta. And we, of course, love the spice around here when we can use it. But this was more about teams that are going to gain you elo for the most part. And spice you can also plug in. Wild card team, Azu, G-Fisk, plug whatever spicy mon you want next to them. That's another spice team you could use. But all that said, thank you so much for watching. Once again, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.